Hey guys, welcome to Kidmissing TV. As you know, I couldn't do January normally. So I'm having to go through and do certain videos that I planned for January. Excuse me. That I planned for January. Let's move that out of the way. In different order to the order that was in the preview. Due to my move, my illness, and everything in between. So I decided that this case here was one I definitely wanted for this month. The ones that I don't get to this month will go up in a different month. I mean, they're already written cases. They're cases I wanted to cover. So I'll just include them in a different month. Next month is 50s February. We'll be focusing on cases from the 1950s. But this case takes us to May 4th, 1984. This is an adult. Excuse me. She is known as the Vernon County Jane Doe. In Westby, Michigan. Three teenagers found her. They were driving down a road called Old Line Road. It's actually 4 miles from Westby. At 11:15 in the evening, they noticed what appeared to be the body of an elderly woman lying on the side of what is described as a gravel rural road. There was no mistaking it. She was dead. She had been bludgeoned beyond recognition. They quickly drove to the nearest farm to alert authorities. The sheriff's deputy arrived on the scene just before midnight. The blows she received were so bad. Her eye socket was broken, her jaw was broken. Her dentures were broken inside of her mouth. If you look at her picture, oh good lord, did I even make January's? I don't even know if I made January's posters, but I think I did. You see what looks like a sad older woman. Her dentures were broken in her mouth. 2 of the teeth were completely gone. And they said it was unclear whether the teeth were missing due to the attack. Well, yeah, because they were found in a parking lot along with blood, or at least what they described as parts of the dentures. Her hands were removed. At her wrists. They've still not found them. Authorities believe that they were cut off to prevent fingerprints from identifying her. I think when people do that, they know once the victim's identified, they're screwed. Then she also had sharp force injuries to the left side of her head near her ear. These injuries were most likely caused by a knife. The officer also noticed tire tracks in the gravel indicating the person who dumped Jane Doe had made a U-turn when driving away. Okay, this is what was found on her. A home-sewn black dress with blue paisley print, a home-sewn multicolored coat, a blue turtleneck, nylon stockings, and slip-on tan shoes, size 8.5. Any of her store-bought clothing he had removed the labels from. Her upper denture is inscribed with the number 420 or 4-20. The number 289 or 682 is also present in raised lettering, a code from the manufacturer. The numbers have not aided police in identifying Jane Doe. Her hair was a graying brown that had possibly been worn in a perm. She had blue eyes and was between 5'5" and 5'6", weighed 150 pounds, had a vertical scar on her abdomen along her midline that was 4 3/4 inches long. She was estimated to be between 50 and 63 years of age. Authorities believe she was killed between 24 and 48 hours prior to being discovered. Due to the lack of blood at the scene, authorities theorized the attack had taken place at a different location. It's absolutely horrible. It's funny. You get a sense of this woman, We can give her a better name than the Vernon County Jane Doe. This woman clearly loved to sew and make her own clothes. We could call her Crafty Jane Doe or Seamstress Jane Doe. I think that's what I'm going to call her, Seamstress Jane Doe. After seeing a news report about the grisly murder, a couple came forward stating that they had seen a suspicious man the evening of May 4th. He had been returning to the driver's seat of a yellow compact car parked on the side of Highway 14, US Highway 14, about 3 miles from where Jane Doe was discovered. When police investigated this area, they discovered a piece of the broken denture, some blood, and a man quartz Seiko watch. See, when I first read it, it said it was in a parking lot. Maybe it was one of those rest area parking, when you're going down US highways, you'll see on the side of the road a parking lot in the middle of nowhere that is a parking lot to nothing. It's a rest area for truckers and stuff. I'm wondering if that's what was meant earlier on by parking lot. And a man's quartz Seiko watch. They also noticed a disturbance in the gravel, indicating the driver had accelerated hard, spraying up rocks as he fled. It is theorized the man was attempting to dispose of Jane Doe here, but was interrupted by the couple. Police believe the man was driving a yellow 1982 Datsun. Police do not believe she was from the area in which she was discovered. In 2012, they reached out to parts of Wisconsin and Minnesota that were connected to Highway 14. With the help of local media, they aired a 3-day special in the case called Catching Her Killer, Justice for Jane Doe. I'm going to have to see if I can find a link to that. Maybe it's on YouTube. Sorry. On August 12, 2012, Jane Doe's body was exhumed and sent to Madison, Wisconsin for DNA testing. Specialists were able to retrieve a profile for future comparison before she was laid to rest once again. Authorities are considering using familial DNA, in other words, genetic genealogy, to identify her. We already know that. In December of 2012, a new facial reconstruction of Jane Doe, based on scientific measurements of her skull, was released by the University of Arizona. This was completed by forensic artist Katiana Falsetti. They also did pollen testing in May of 2018. U.S. Customs and Border Protection in Chicago did the tests. I didn't know they had the ability to do stuff like that. The test identified high levels of sagebush, meaning the pollen is likely from an urban area in the semi-arid highlands or lowest elevation zone of the temperate Sierra, found in the states of Arizona and New Mexico. Law enforcement now have the officials' confirmation that Jane Doe was not from the area in which she was discovered. You know, it's interesting because Jane Doe that was identified, and they had used the pollen technology. The pollen found on her, on that particular Jane Doe, was only found in 2 places. The Arnold Arboretum in Boston and a place in New York City, neither of which is where the girl was from. So I think, at least in that case, the pollen was transferred by her killer. Don't know about in this case. It was May, so there was pollen everywhere. You have to remember that the pollen could have been transferred to her clothing. You know, she was riding with somebody from somebody's car who had been to the areas that they're talking about. So it's hard with pollen to say, stamp, that's it, you know, because pollen is, it's transfer. It's Locard's theory, you know, and everything picks up a trace and leaves a trace. That's not exactly how he put it, but authorities have been working with the media in the Southwest in hopes of reaching a new audience and someone that may recognize the sketch. Police have followed up over 400 leads in this case, and still, she remains without a name on her tombstone. If you have any information regarding this case, please contact the Vernon County Sheriff's Office at 1-608-637-2123. That's 1-608-637-2123. And her Doe network is 261 UFWI. That's 261 Unidentified Female, Wisconsin. That's what that means. So I find it hard to believe she was from the Southwest necessarily, because like I said, it's Locard's theory, it's transfer, and because pollen is a transfer type of trace evidence, again, I think the other girl, got that pollen that's only in the United States, in the Arboretum in Boston, the Arnold Arboretum, and a place in New York City, on her was riding in a car with someone, in my opinion. Or maybe she sat in a chair in a booth in a restaurant, you know, a diner or something, and